Action here at Hill Country Comicon. I know you guys got more in you than that. Let's get pumped up a little bit. Yes, that sounds a lot better.
What's that voice you just did? Hiya! Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it goes something like
Something like that.
It's a shouty thing.
It's a shouty.
I shout a lot in anime.
So I'll do a quick intro. I know everybody here knows you and they're excited, but you got to get the bio shout out. So we have Catherine Sutherland, Kat Hilliard, the second Pink Power Ranger, and later the Pink Zeo Ranger, and the first Pink Turbo Ranger in the Power Rangers television series, as well as Turbo. Let's give a round of applause.
Thank you.
And you may also recognize her from Sweet Valley High, right?
Oh yeah. Sweet.
I grew up on that. When Saturday morning you just watched whatever was on, and I was like a dude, like, okay, I'll watch Sweet Valley High, and I loved it.
Two pretty blonde twins. Yeah, that's appealing.
Yeah, I like how you set that up. I just, I'm a dude.
I know,
It just
tough
happened to
crowd.
be on. I just watched
Just
it.
happened to tune in.
All right, you're up next. Johnny Young Bosch, Adam Park, the Black Ranger on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and a studly voice actor. What, did I say your name wrong? Okay, I thought, like, dude, what'd I say? But, dude, Trigun, what else? Akira, Eureka 7, Count of Monte Cristo, and Sailor Moon, dude. That's pretty studly
Plus
resume.
About 500 more.
I know, the list goes on and on. We would, if we listed your credits, we would just read that and then everyone would go away, but we don't want to do that. So, what I'd like to know from you guys, the first question is, Power Rangers has had an insanely long, it's been running so long. What do you think it is about the Power Rangers series that has given it such legs for multiple generations of kids?
Probably it felt, at least when we were on the show, I haven't been watching any of the recent stuff, but it felt kind of safe, the word wholesome would maybe be it, but I know that we kicked stuff, but they were like cockroaches or whatever, or creatures made out of clay. So some people didn't like that, but we're colorful, we're friends, we're very diverse. I think it was like the action and the pace of things, and it was something that you knew what to expect. We're these kids in high school, and then there's a monster, and there's putties, we do a little fighting, and there's a robot fight at the end. And it's something that everybody just kind of like knew this is the way it was going to go. And for kids, that just seems like, I know what's going to happen, but this is fun.
Yeah.
It's a different new monster each time,
Yeah, it's funny looking back all these years later that it's still continuing. And I think the diversity aspect of it was very important because there was always someone a kid could relate to. Looked like them, behaved like them. And they've continued that through all these years of like a very diverse cast. And I think it was one of the first superhero teams, live action superhero teams that had that appeal.
And it's good guys win.
And always,
that's right.
yes.
Good guys win.
Good always wins.
So I'd like to hear a little bit about both of your auditions. So were you a Power Rangers fan? And how did you get the audition? And I'd just like to hear a little bit about that process.
Sure. So for me, I grew up in Texas, in Garland, Texas. I was studying Shaolin Kung Fu, and my instructor had seen it like in the newspaper that they were looking for Power Rangers. And he said, hey, I think you should go give it a shot. He kind of knew I wanted to do that sort of thing. And I was like, okay. So helped me put together a little routine, kicks, flips, all that sort of thing. And then I just went to an open cattle call, which was, thousands of people in Dallas. They did this all over the states. It would be like American Idol, but,
But with martial arts.
Right. So, but in the newspaper, it did say you had to be a martial artist or a gymnast or a dancer, mainly just to be able to do choreography. And then we showed up, so we do a little bit of the kicking, flipping stuff, and then they brought us back in a couple times. Actually, first they said they kind of did a looks thing, and then they had us do our whatever it was, martial arts or gymnastics, and then we had to come back and read a monologue. And then after that, a couple weeks later, I got called back for auditions in California. Basically the same process, but then I got to work with other people that were potentially going to be on the show with me. And but it was a very fast thing, crazy and fun. I'm trying to think of really complex things because I know you're signing over there, and so I'm trying to think. But if I was like Bankai Getsuga Tensho, you're good. Wow, all right.
Tough crowd.
A pro. All right.
So,
Yeah.
Catherine, what was your audition process?
Different from Johnny's, definitely. They had been auditioning in California and Canada, and I don't know where else in America, but they had been auditioning. And then they'd filmed the first movie in Australia, and the producers loved Australia and thought, oh, maybe we'll bring in an international flair to the show. So I was just told it was a children's show that was filming in America. So I was like, oh my gosh, I get to go to Hollywood. This is my dream. So I went in for the audition, and the character was called Catherine. And I was like, oh, maybe that's a sign.
It made it easier for you to remember the name.
Exactly. So I did a scene, and then the second audition was a martial arts routine, which I hope never surfaces.
People are going to be digging around the internet right now. You've created a monster.
My friend who was a martial artist was like, okay, you're a ballerina. Let's just figure this out. We'll do a lot of high kicks and turns. I was like, I can do that. And then the third audition, I met with Shuki Levy, who's one of the producers. And then about 3 weeks later, they called me and said, you're coming over here. I was like, ah!
Welcome to America.
Yes.
So you had no martial arts background at all?
No, I was a dancer.
And so when you got the gig, did you just immediately get a coach and start practicing? Or?
Well, when I came on the show, they were no longer doing out of suit fighting. So it was more of a case of we worked at such a fast pace that they would film second unit, we called it, which was the stunt team, and our unit would often be filming at the same time. So and also I think there was some injuries perhaps that had happened when you guys were doing out of suit stuff, because they stopped doing that for Zio.
We didn't have injuries?
I didn't. I think someone did. Didn't Steve Cardenas? No.
I don't think he did. I think you're thinking about the Turbo movie where he fell out of the ring and broke his back in the movie.
No.
Ouch.
Anyway, they stopped doing civilian fights, though, in Turbo. Was it more because of the filming, or was it to protect us from not getting hurt?
I don't know why they did that, to be honest. They did. We didn't do as much in Turbo. Well, Turbo is kind of a blur for me because we weren't there there
very long, yeah. Yeah. We started doing fight scenes in Turbo again. But anyway, the boys were all...
We did stuff in Zio, too, though. Did you not?
No. I don't think I did any in Zio. I think I did in Turbo.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, the boys are all martial artists, except David Yost, who's a gymnast, and all the girls. Amy was a gymnast, but everybody else was dancers. The girls.
So when you guys got booked, were there any surprises for you about just the production process? Because you weren't an actor before, you were taking classes, and your instructor pushed you into it. Really, you were a dancer, so you you get the Power Rangers gig. You're young, you're excited. What was the biggest surprise for each of you? Or were there any?
Well, I mean, when you watch a show like Power Rangers, it's so fast-paced, and there's things just happening all the time, right? But when you're on set, they're setting up lights, and you're sitting in your whatever chair or your trailer, and you're falling asleep, and then it's time to go, and you shoot like a very short sequence, and you go back and you sit down and you wait. There was a lot of waiting, and then to shoot a page would take forever, and you would mostly be sitting around, and then you'd go in to the command center, and we would do like 3 different episodes or whatever. And so
just to go and change our clothes and come back, because they would want to do all the setups from that angle. So we were like, what episode? What? Who are we fighting? What's going on? It's like very confusing sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I was lucky though, because I called myself the background ranger. So all I did was stand in the back. The other rangers would be the ones in front. Oh, I always do this to Catherine, don't I? And then I'd be back here like this.
And you would stick your arm in the shot.
Yeah, you see an elbow in there. I would do things like that occasionally, especially towards the end. The camera would be on somebody else, and I'd try to sneak my face in to the shot.
The King Power Ranger photo bomber,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I definitely
does
did
that.
that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I felt any surprises because I had been doing acting in Australia, but it was just a big cultural shift for me. Like, one of the funniest things that happened to me was I went to the grocery store for the first time, and I'm walking down the cereal aisle going, oh my gosh, what do I choose? There's like so many things to choose. In Australia, there'd be like 3, to choose from. And then I wanted cantaloupe, but in Australia we call cantaloupe rock melon. So I say, where are the rock melons? And he's like, what? And I said, rock melon. And he's looking at me like a deer in headlights. I said,
You looking for
it's round,
Pokemon?
it's got orange
It's
inside.
Pokemon.
And he goes, yeah. Cantaloupe? Yeah,
That's
so I
funny.
had a lot of things like that. We eat pumpkin, and we call it pumpkin. You guys call it butternut squash here. And I'm asking for
Oh,
pumpkin.
we
in the
And we
middle
have
of
we
the-
have pumpkins too.
Well, but we
They're
call
different.
butternut squash
Gotcha.
pumpkin. Like,
Okay.
we have that with, in my family, we had it with every meal. So it's summer, and I'm asking for pumpkin, and they look like, what is wrong with you?
Do they make pumpkin pie in Australia?
No,
We
don't
have that here,
Oh,
Yeah, I love pumpkin
yeah,
pie.
it's great.
but it's a different. All
But
the
no.
secret American
We-
Well,
pumpkin.
what do
we
you
like-
call a pumpkin? No, our version of pumpkin.
Well, we have different, we call them like, we have like, the pumpkins that are kind of blue skin? We call that Japanese pumpkin. No, you don't have those here.
Maybe
Why
those
don't-
are Japanese. What about the orange ones?
The orange ones, yeah, we call them pumpkins, but we don't really have those. It's like we
Oh,
have
that's
this
funny.
butternut squash.
Right, so you guys
like-
didn't really have those out like for Halloween or
no,
anything,
no,
right?
and I never celebrated Halloween until I lived here.
One big thing for me, because from Texas, and going out to California, and you think Hollywood is city, but where we were, it was like desert.
Yes.
It's like, wait, this is a desert.
Yes.
We live in a desert.
Yeah, I got out of there real fast. I
yeah,
think I
it was-
moved in like 3 months into the city.
Where was it shot for you guys?
Santa Clarita.
Santa Clarita,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Which is now a pretty nice place. but
No more
back
desert?
In the day, it was a desert.
Nothing there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of studio sets, like NCIS shoots out there. Beverly Hills 902 and Melrose Place both shot out there. So it was mostly like warehouses and then nothing else.
It's
Yeah.
really nice now, though.
Yeah, it's beautiful now.
So one of the things we're going to do in this panel a little differently is we're not going to just do Q&A at the end. So if anybody does have a question, we're just going to let them ask it as we go. So if you do have a question, feel free to. Oh, we already have a question. Just go up and stand up. We have to see you. Go ahead.
Wait, did we? Sorry.
Let me go. I'm going to
Yeah.
take a
Yeah.
mic to him
There we
because the online audience must hear this. Let's hope we don't feedback. Let's ask
There's
that
an
question
online
again so they can
audience?
hear you really well.
Okay, did you have any regrets
Better
about?
straighten up for the online audience. Where are they?
Okay, did you have any regrets about losing a fan favorite character? Like, for random example, the original Red Power Ranger.
Oh, losing the
Yeah.
characters? Oh, like, what was his name? Jason, right? He
left?
played his character named Jason.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You will see, for us coming on the show, we didn't really even know that we were replacing Rangers. It wasn't really until we got there for the second audition, and then I noticed it was like new black, new red, new yellow, and I was like, in the script, and I'm like, what does this mean? And we had no idea. And I remember seeing Jason Frank, and somebody had said, oh, he's on the show, and he was like bringing in a bunch of friends, and we were like, dude, he's just gonna put his friends in the show. We came all the way out from Texas to do this. But yeah, so for us, it was a bit different. So I didn't really grow up, like, I didn't watch the show too much. I had seen an episode where I thought to myself, I could do this stuff, but it wasn't like I watched it. So it was different for me in that experience, as far as like, I wasn't thinking about who was coming or going. Yeah.
And same for me. I thought I was just an addition to the cast. I didn't realize anyone was leaving until I got here, and then I was like, oh,
No,
wow,
we're the
this is
replacement
awkward.
Rangers.
Awkward.
But that leads me to a good question. You come into the show and you're the new Pink Power Ranger, but how do you make that your own character? because you're not trying to come in and just be her.
No,
And
so
what were
because Kimberly was such a popular character and so loved, and in comes the new girl that was evil and taking her boyfriend from her and all the nasty stuff that happened.
That's right. You were evil
yes.
first. Yeah.
Yeah, I was evil first. I really liked the story arc, and I think it was a really good way to say goodbye to Kimberly. But it was hard for me because I was really hated in the beginning of the show. So I think it's always hard to replace someone, but when you add that into it, that someone was so popular and now you're evil coming in. I still deal with stuff. Like, in fact, there's a meme going around now that's the Delta variant meme, where they have those, and you guys might have seen it. So they have Tommy and Kimberly like all cuddling together, and then they have me like this. And
Oh, great.
I'm the Delta variant. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
I think
they're so creative.
Yeah.
I think you just you've now pushed everyone that's watching to go find your audition tape and now share this meme. So congratulations.
I know, great. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's definitely hard to be a replacement, but I think they did a good job making my character. We were very different characters.
Were you able to influence that at all, or is it strictly here's your script?
No, I would say for my character, that they definitely asked things that I noticed things that I was good at, and they knew I was a dancer. They definitely took elements of my personality. I'm very motherly to people, so I think Kat was a very nurturing, motherly character. So they took elements of my personality for sure.
That's good. Do we have any other questions? Yes, we have a lot of questions coming up. I saw his hand first, so
Bankai gets a Gatencho. Hey man, she was on top of it.
Of each show,
I know, I'm being mean.
Of each
So good.
series or movie, were y'all given copies after completion to watch your own material or footage?
We were given nothing.
For Power Rangers
They
back
didn't give
then, were
us
you given
anything.
VHS copies?
No.
They didn't give
that
us
sucks.
anything. But the boot.
Yeah, get out.
Bummer.
Moving on.
I have a feeling he was going to make you an offer to buy your tapes if you had them. That's where I think this was going.
I actually did have all of the VHS of Zeo, and I gave them to my grandma because she wanted to watch them. So
Wow. At some
she has
point,
them all.
a fan burned them on like DVDs.
Yeah,
from
I
me.
have those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Shout Factory has all of them on DVD now.
So what did your grandmother think?
Oh, she's so cute. She'd sit there. I was like, that's love. Just sit there and watch Power Rangers. And
She was geeking
tell
out.
everybody in the nursing home that
Seriously?
granddaughter. They're like, "What's a Power Ranger?" Yeah.
So she organized movie
pretty
nights
funny.
at the nursing home.
Exactly.
We're watching Power Rangers, guys. Everybody come in. You created
Yeah.
a whole new generation
That's
of
right,
Power
they're all,
Ranger
like, wearing
fans.
Power Ranger
So
shirts.
cute.
They
so
got Power
cute.
Ranger PJs. And
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That makes my day to hear
So
that
cute.
story. All right, do we have another question? Okay. I saw your hand earlier, so go ahead.
Hooray!
Sorry. So this guy is the world's biggest Power Ranger super fan. I know everybody in this room is, but still he is. And like, yay, way to go, Gilbert. And but anyway, we have the Heroes of the Grid.
Yeah.
And
the
so
game?
like so like do y'all ever just like I mean, if it were me, if I was a Power Ranger and they came out with a Power Rangers game, I'd be like, they're playing as me. That's like, do you ever just like have like little random thoughts like that, like, or like action figures or whatever? You're just like, that's totally me. And somebody else
I
does.
did think it was really cool to have an action figure, especially the new ones that just came out. They actually look a lot more like us than the original toys, which was like
yeah,
man.
the originals were real. Yeah, you had a man body.
little head.
Yeah.
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 And
well,
very
mine was like that
pasty.
too, though. It was like super
Super
big, and
buff.
muscular, and a small, tiny head.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like pasty white, like super
Yeah.
pasty.
I think they took the mold of whatever the Zack character on the
Yeah.
Adam, and they just like painted him like white.
Right, yeah,
And you're like,
exactly. Well, that'll do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was Tommy, and then they just changed his white gave him
The
whiter
little-
skin
the
and
long
yellow
hair.
Yeah, exactly.
They painted the hair on, but it was still short hair in the back. You know, it's just a strip
Little
of
bit
paint.
of a mullet going on
It
there.
Yeah,
is
the
sweet.
new ones are much better.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're really, really beautiful. So And it's really cool after all these years to still have toys coming out about you. Like, it's pretty amazing.
And it's cool that the comics are doing new and interesting things with our characters.
All the stories.
Too, so.
Yeah, it's fun to explore all those different universes, and I really like what they're doing with that.
So I know as a Power Ranger cast member, you have fans for life. What is the most interesting fan gift you've received? And you don't have it could be it's the nicest, most interesting fan gift, or drawings, or do people
you
bring
get
those
drawings all the
Lot
time?
of art.
Yeah, you get art. Like I have so much art.
Beautiful.
Drawers full of just stuff I've come home with. And some people do like I don't know what it's when they would do it with wood or whatever. I'm not sure the actual term for that, but yeah, I've got plenty of those too. Woodwork, I guess, right? Yeah.
Beautiful woodwork and gems, like people make
gems, yeah.
And jewelry. Some very talented people. Well, the cosplayers, like,
you look out there. There's a few cosplayers
amazing.
like, my goodness.
Have you seen some cosplayers whose costumes actually look better than the actual costumes?
All the time. All the time.
Yeah, there's some people
just good enough for camera, and then they're like crazy detail.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of them they add to it, or they like customize it in a different way.
Like they'll blend rangers. There was one guy that did like Lord Drac and the Green Ranger, and he blended the costumes, and it was really amazing.
I saw one that he blended the Black Ranger with Ichigo, or with like the Hollow Ichigo.
That's cool.
I was like, whoa, that is awesome. Yeah,
that's
it's
really
cool to see.
So, as a geek and a collector of random weirdness, I've always wondered, did you get to keep any props from your character?
It's kind of a joke, but all I got was I did get my communicator, but
Sweet.
a barrette.
You got a barrette?
Yeah.
It's like,
one pink
thanks for the
barrette.
work. Here's your barrette.
I wore so many barrettes on the show. I mean, and they were like little, and I always laugh when we look back. We're like, why did they put them here? And then I do have my original turbo suit.
No way.
But not because they gave it to me.
Yeah, they didn't really give us stuff.
No.
It had to be
have
commandeered.
Some things that they did not give us.
Yes, we may. It just somehow
I'm like, wait,
I
how did that
appeared. How did that
I don't
happen?
know. I guess it's too late now. I'm off the show.
Stay in your dress.
I meant to put it back.
Yeah. Well, for me, it just one of the things kept falling off. The movie, the frog medallion kept falling out of the suit and fell into my bag. Just like, oh my goodness, what is this doing in my bag? And so. Oh, and actually, there's Planet Hollywood there was in Orlando. I don't know if it's still there, but they had my suit there from the movie. It had no medallion in it.
No. Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, suit worn by Johnny and Mighty Morphin. No medallion.
Did
Now
you
you
go
guys
there and
know
take
the
a
truth.
selfie holding the medallion in front of your
drawer,
suit?
right next to my desk. Yeah. There it is, safe and sound.
That's hilarious.
It's got a code like you have to put in.
So he's got biometric locks on everything.
It's like Death Note, in the drawer that's buried down.
So you got a medallion, you got a barrette, and
I
a
do have my
communicator. You have your communicator?
We all
Prop
got our
guys,
they hooked us up with
they
that.
gave us our.
Well, they had like 50
They
of
had
them.
a ton of them.
Yeah.
They gave us like the stunt ones.
Yeah, and then
Mine cuts me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I
It's
occasionally try to put it on, and it I'm bleeding.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I
But
have
the
my
toys are so
medallion,
much better
too.
now, though. The toys that they came out
They're
with,
so nice.
they're like, these are nice.
And they make sounds.
And they're heavy.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that we had on the show was.
We were
it's pretty
using the
bad.
toys you guys played with, like the plastic
The old ones.
Xenizers and
Yeah, the
everything.
really old ones.
Yeah.
Actually, the Xenizers are they're similar,
Yeah.
except for the new ones.
The new
ones are like
way
heavy.
better. Yeah, way
they're-
better. Anyway.
It's
So
funny
let's
how like if it's heavy, it's like this is good. It's heavy.
this is
This is heavy. Put some
gluing
lightness
lead on the inside to make it weighty. So let's do another question. I saw a hand in the back. Young lady, kind of in the back, in the middle back. There you go.
I know that a lot of times you guys go back for like current episodes. What's your favorite season to have gone back to?
I only went back to one. So that one. Ninja Steel Danger in the Dimensions. Is that what it was called? Some Dimensions in the whatever.
In the
Ninja
danger
Steel.
zone?
Yeah, in the danger zone. Yeah, and it was really fun to go back because I got to go to New Zealand and it was very nostalgic and fun. I wish they'd done more with us in the episode, but it was really fun.
Yeah, I went back twice. I went back for In Space for Always a Chance, and then in Overdrive, I got to go to New Zealand. Once a Ranger, always a Ranger. They were both fun. I had a good time. There were some cooler things in the space because I had a busted morpher. I still used it, and that to me, there's some stuff that was like a Koichi idea. So there was some story in there for my character, some backstory. It's like
We
carrying a red
watched
around
that
in his
episode
bag.
on our
yeah,
show.
right. Yeah,
And
they
you-
have a show,
Yeah.
Kat and Nakia, and yeah, we just that was not too long ago.
Yeah,
maybe
Johnny did a
couple months
review
ago.
of that episode on our show, so we got to watch it, and you had some cool fight sequences. and
It was
everything
fun.
too.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I guess that one would be the one.
All right. While I'm back here, any more questions? We have a Black Ranger in the house.
Yeah.
Are you Zach or Adam?
Adam.
Yes.
Adam.
Well said.
Only Adam.
So my question is, so on like you can see the transformation occur from like Mighty Morphin to Turbo, where like your hair slowly started to grow out, and like
Yes.
as the wardrobe changed from black to green.
Right.
Was that like a personal decision, or was like Saban telling you like we want you to have like long hair?
Okay, so this is weird. All right, so you mean it was just regular, right, in Mighty Morphin. And then it was like the kids came on the show. Remember that when we got turned into kids? And so they're like, "Oh, you guys got a break." We had like never had a break. We worked like 6, almost sometimes 7 days a week because we do ADR or whatever else on the weekend. And so finally we had a break. And so they said hiatus, and I was told 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks. And I was like, "Oh, this is great." So I shaved my head. And I was out of here. I was like, I'm going to go up to the mountains and just whatever, be I don't know, grizzly man. I don't know. But I just was like out there, right? And just in my own world. And then I got a page and then a call and then it was like, we need you back. And it was like a week later. And I'm like, oh, wait, but my hair is and then so, yeah. And so at first I thought they were punishing me because I was like, you are not allowed to cut your hair. And so and it was just getting longer and longer. And I was like, hey, so can we do anything about my hair? And then I was told that they wanted me to grow it out longer because Jason Frank, who plays Tommy, was thinking about leaving. And so they thought if I had long hair, it would fool some kids into thinking I was Tommy. And I was like, is that a real thing? Because I'm a half Asian. I don't look like him. But they're like, nah. And so, yeah, so it was like, I don't know, I don't really know fully, but that's what I was told. So it was partially punishment for shaving my head. And then, they, I guess.
And
wanted
I
me to
thought it
fool
was
kids.
because he liked Brandon Lee. And he was trying to
I'd
look
actually,
like him.
I did post a picture of me recently around that time when I had the hair, the perfect length.
Crow. It
And
was
I was
during the
for
Crow.
Halloween. It was
Yeah.
like one of Narvi's parties or whatever.
Yeah.
I went as the crow. I did. I pulled off a pretty good crow. I posted on my Instagram. You can check it out. At Johnny Young Bosch.
Anyone have another question? Anyone?
Hey,
Oh,
you
right
guys
behind
give
you.
it up for these guys that are signing here. I know they,
Yes.
switching
are
out. You
awesome.
guys are great. Thanks for
Yes.
doing this.
So what I wanted to ask was, what relationship did y'all have to the Sentai shows that came from Japan? Like, did they show it to you at all? And also, how much time did y'all actually spend in the suits? I know most of the effects was from there, but how much time
Right.
did y'all spend in there?
First off, they did not really show us the old stuff. The only time I ever saw that stuff is when I thought, this show is cheesy, I can go write it. And I went upstairs to the writers and I was like, I want to write a show. And they're like, okay. And they slid a box over to me with all these old Japanese tapes, and I popped it in and started watching, and this monster was peeing on Rangers, and I was like, I don't think I know how to write this. And so I took it out, and I was like, yeah, there's a faucet monster, and they ended up using it in Zeo, I think it was, but obviously they cut around that stuff. Yeah, so I didn't see it other than that one time when I was like looking at the different tapes. And they definitely did, especially at the beginning of each season, they would use as much, that was their goal, was to use as much footage from the Japanese as possible. but then you can kind of tell it's a little grainy. All the people in the city are Asian, and but there were times they would definitely shoot a lot with us as well. And like you said, second unit would be off doing some things, helmet head stuff. And the only time, and then again, the only time we really had helmets is if we're about to take it off, Yeah. So most of that was either stock footage or we had a great stunt team that was out there doing that stuff every single day. But we got to do our civvy stuff. Yeah, I got to do my stuff all the way through.
Yeah, Koichi favored you with
Well,
the
he
fighting.
did.
He did.
Yeah.
Because he's a pretty epic martial artist, I have to say.
Koichi was fun. Koichi would let me he would
Play.
just come up with a bunch of cool things. He'd be like, "What do you want to do today?"
We were always running
Yeah.
up trees and flipping over
Yeah.
things.
It's good fun.
During his lunch break, he'd be, there he goes, flipping around again.
It's fun. It's
Yeah,
fun.
it was funny with the stunt guys because all of our stunt guys were a Japanese stunt team, and some of them were American, but most of them were from Japan, and they were just like phenomenal. But during lunch breaks and stuff, we would often have kids come to the set to visit, and they'd be like, in these big monster suits, and they'd heads down, so it was just like hanging around their waist, and they'd be smoking, and these kids are like, that monster ate that man. So they had to be like, warn them, kids are coming, put your suit back on.
Yeah.
No
Or
smoking.
there's like
No smoking.
like the Pink Ranger was a guy.
Yeah,
Pink
and
Ranger
they
was a
pat
guy
him.
that could stand
He'd stand like this.
real like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
he would do his stuff and stand like
He'd do all
Pink
these little
Ranger is like
shimmies.
that's a dude.
Yeah.
So is the
patted-
yellow.
Patted him
you know?
up, patted up his
Yeah.
butt. Yep.
But they were just really good physical actors.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
So I would like to segue just a little bit, and I heard a rumor that you have a children's book. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I have two children. They're now 15 and 13, which is delightful time of life.
Lovely.
I detect
Lovely.
sarcasm. No.
No, I love my children more than anything. But I used to love reading to my kids, and I'd love books that had moral messages. My favorite children's book is The Giving Tree. And so I call my son the boy with the heart on his sleeve because my son's very emotional and very open with his feelings. And he often would be, as a kid, like people would kind of either really love him or they'd like not want to be anywhere near him. And so I was like, I'm going to write this down. This is a story. I think this would really speak to people about bullying and about accepting people for who they are. And so I wrote it and published it myself and came out maybe 3 years ago. And it's been really well received, actually, with special needs community. With a lot of parents have said their child really connected to it because it's about this little boy who has this giant heart that kind of leads him through the world. And as the world kind of starts to judge him, the heart shrivels, and he has to kind of find his strength from within. I believe God gives us our identity and who we are. And so as he starts to accept that, the heart grows, and he learns to share his heart in a new way.
So if any
Yeah.
of your fans would like to check that book out, where can they get it?
I have it on my website, catherinesutherland.biz. catherinesutherland.biz, yes, that's right.
So it's only direct. Can you get it on Amazon?
No, I don't sell it on Amazon or anything. I just sell it.
So come to you. They
Yes.
can get your book.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
Well, and so, because I want to talk about, beyond Power Rangers. So, Johnny, of all the voices and shows you've done, which was the hardest?
Hardest.
Which was the hardest character you played?
There was a game I worked on, which I have no idea what the game was because it was top secret. I think it was a Namco game. And I got called in, and he was like, you're going to be playing Goblin number. It was like a number, 13 or something. And so he's like, over there at this table. I was like, oh, okay. And so I go over the table, and I start flipping through the script to look at the Goblin stuff. And it was all just vowels. O, A-E-I-I, O-E-A-I. And I'm like, I was like, what is this typo? What is this? It's like, oh, no, you're going to be it's just a goblin. Goblin noises, goblin noises. And I was like, I don't know goblin noises. I don't know what a goblin is. This was before Lord of the Rings. So I'm like, I don't know. And so I'm like, okay. And so I started thinking back when I was a kid and I had a guinea pig and I would talk to it in the guinea pig language. And I was like, and it was like, yeah, do that. And so I was like, all right. So I'm like, a goblin guinea pig. And he's like, and now you're on fire. You're falling off onto a spike, whatever. So it's that for like 4 hours, just. This is the first time I ever did any kind of creature stuff like that. So a good long session, 4 hours or whatever it was. And at the end of that session, I could not talk. Yeah. He was like, thanks for the job, whatever it was, right? I couldn't talk. The next day, I was supposed to do like a young kid voice on a series, but I didn't have a voice, and so I got replaced.
Oh.
A much better gig, much better paying in the long run for some game I don't know the name of, and so I have no idea what it was that I did, but that was probably my least. I know. Well, this was a while ago, so I don't know. Could have tanked.
So there is some bitterness towards Goblin 13 now.
I hate him. I don't like him at all. No, I did have fun, but it was like, it's one of those things you learn where it's like, okay, after a couple hours of screaming and shouting, I probably need to take it easy. Otherwise, I won't have a voice anymore. I can't do voiceover anymore. So yeah, that was one of those, I guess, eye-opening moments for me.
What about in the series or TV shows or movies? Anything that was a crazy challenge? Like so far out of your comfort zone, it brings you pain.
Well, you just did.
Yeah, I did. Funny you should mention it. I have a film called Arc Exodus that I shot in January 2020. It wasn't even the film I was supposed to do. In 2019, me and some other person, we were going to do an action film, and it was going to be a gift to the fans, because I had been a part of various different Kickstarters. There was even one that was a game, and so people had donated to projects. Legend of White Dragon would be another one, so people have always supported different projects that I was either in or supposed to be in, and then whatever happened, they fell apart or I couldn't be in it or whatever. And so I wanted to create a feature film that was just a gift. Don't have to donate, it's just for you guys. And so 2019 spent 10 months planning this thing. And a week before actual shooting, fell apart. Lost half our funding, lost a lot of our resources. And so I had 1 week to figure, and again, the other part is like I live in LA, we were then gonna be shooting in Texas, and I don't know anybody in Texas, and so it was kind of scary, and because all my money's in Texas, I don't know who's there or anything. So I had to call up all the actors and say, hey, so we can't do this film anymore because it kind of fell apart, but we're going to just do something different. Is that cool with you? And they're like, what are we going to do? And it's like, I'm writing it right now, And so we had 4 days to prep. So if I wrote something with some help from a couple friends, so 4 days we had to prep for a film. We shot the film. It's called Arc Exodus.
It's excellent.
And during COVID, I did the editing. My VFX guy couldn't do it because he was moving because of COVID. And so I spent 3 months learning how to do visual effects. And so I did the visual effects. My band scored the film. And so this is what I'm giving to the fans. In October, we're releasing this. We're showing it tomorrow if you want to come by and check it out. Showing it tomorrow, I think, in my panel, which I'm not sure if this is A or not. This in here? Okay, so I guess we're showing it in here. Not on those screens, right? Okay. All right, I don't know how we're going to show it, but I'll bring my computer and we'll watch it all together. But yeah, we're releasing it. It's just one of those things I'm just giving to the fans. Hopefully they like it. We did win some awards because we sent it out to festivals. But again, we had no time to prep. So every day was like, what are we shooting today? All right, we'd shoot this thing. And they were like, what do we need tomorrow? Let's go to Home Depot. And then we'd build that thing overnight. And then we'd have it for the next day. But it was like that every day for 20 days. And so it was a struggle. The hardest thing I've ever had to work on. Lots of things hidden in the background. You'll see Ichigo was here written on the wall somewhere if you're paying attention. Yeah, there's a ton of eggs in the background. Black Ranger helmets in there.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's stuff in there.
The fans will have a lot of little treats to look for.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a
Although
nice
they won't pay
IMDb
attention
page.
to the film, they'll be like, what?
And
That's on the
Jason
second.
Narvy's in it too. and
Jason
he's
Narvy's in it,
amazing
who played Skull, Bulk and Skull, so he's Skull, but he's in it.
It's really different. Like he's such a talented actor.
Yeah,
we know
he
that,
played
but
a completely different kind
different
of
kind of
character.
role for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, anyways,
it's really good.
So that means everyone has to be here for that. So you're going to show the whole film?
I'm going to show. It's only 40 minutes. It's just short, so I couldn't do a full feature because we lost half our funding. But yes, I'm going to show that tomorrow. But I'm also going to release it to you guys if you can't come tomorrow in October. It's just going to be out.
Where is it going to be released, or is that not determined
Online.
yet?
Yeah, it's just gonna be
Come,
online.
come check
Everywhere.
your
Yeah.
website.
We
for,
were gonna put it. We tried to do Amazon Prime, but then they just changed the rules. Once we uploaded, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not taking any more short form or documentary or this or that without unsolicited whatever without a."
So that means there needs to be a fan outreach of
I
we
mean,
want
if-
this film
if
on
people
Amazon
like it-
Prime.
well, I mean, here's the thing: if people like it, we'll do more, for sure. We've already done 2 other completely different projects on it that we're gonna also get out there too. But this one's one that I just wanted to give to people as a thank you.
I think watching the credits will be interesting because it's basically your name all the way down the list, right?
Yeah, I left my name out.
Also
on some
playing,
things.
also,
Yeah.
also
I mean, if I would have put all of that on there, for sure, it would have looked ridiculous.
catering. No.
Yeah, right. No, it was.
It's like, what do y'all want for lunch, guys? I'm gonna
Yeah.
go get some food.
I mean, that's exactly the way it was. It was like if you and a couple friends were like, "Hey, let's do something," and you were not prepared for it, but you just did it.
But I can't imagine how rewarding it is to see that film now, though, because it is a labor of love from you because you turned a project
Afterwards,
that
for
was
sure.
funded.
Yeah, it was painful to work through it, but afterwards, once we were submitting it and actually winning awards and stuff, I was like, okay, so maybe there's something here. But it was stressful. I mean, can you imagine? It's like you've planned 10 months on something else. You got a week to come up with a new thing. It was pretty hard.
It's a hardcore pivot.
Yes, it was. But
Now we're all
Yeah, it
excited to
was-
see this. This is
yeah.
going to be great.
so go tomorrow if you can, or see it in October and judge away.
So we're almost out of time. So I want to. Is there anyone else that has any more questions they would like to ask? All right, we got we got 2 questions. Let's do this.
How did you get the part of the Rangers to begin with?
Well, were you here in the beginning?
We did say
We
this,
did.
didn't we?
Um,
Maybe we kind of
we
brushed
did,
over.
but I'll do a quick summary. For me, I auditioned in Australia. I didn't know about Power Rangers. It was just an audition that my agent sent me on for a children's program that shot in America, and I was just the lucky one that got chosen.
And I was studying Kung Fu, and my instructor was looking at a newspaper article and said, looking for new Rangers. And he was like, I think you should go try this out. And put together a routine with him, and I did. I went. There's one more.
Oh, we have another one. All right, let's go.
I know we covered gifts that you guys have gotten, but what's the most interesting thing you've had to sign?
Babies.
Babies
which
are
I
weird.
declined.
To sign a baby.
I was like, maybe not. I'll sign the diaper. A lot of people ask us to sign them, and then they tattoo it on them.
Oh yeah.
That's
that is
very
happened.
common.
I signed a piece of paper, and for this young lady, and she came back after, like, then my band played or something, and then she came back afterwards, and we saw her there. We're like, hey, and she was like, hey, and then she turns around and she has my signature
Oh, she did it right then and there.
tattooed right there, like a, what do they call that, tramp stamp or
Yeah,
something?
tramp stamp.
It's a terrible name, but that's where it
Wow.
was, and her boyfriend was right there.
Oh, awkward.
And so I was like, oh, hey. And then she was like, this is my boyfriend. I was like, oh, hey. And he's like trying to do that, like that to me. And I was like, he's angry. He's like, sorry, dude. He didn't smile at all. He was just like mad. And I was like, hey, man, I didn't tell her to do I didn't know she was going to do that. I just signed a thing. So that was weird.
Yeah, Jason Font and I were in Texas not that long ago, and this girl at the waitress at the restaurant had us sharp forehead, and I was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she's like, "Yep." I go, "It's not going to come off for a while," and she's like, "That's the point." Like, she got both of us to sign right here on her forehead.
But not tattooed, right?
No, who knows if she got it tattooed? I hope not. But anyway, Sharpie.
She was pulling a Mike Tyson.
I
No.
guess.
No, I'm sorry, bad facial tattoo joke. But anyway, we are out of time. Let's let Catherine and Johnny hear how appreciative we are. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
And if you'd like to get photos and signatures, they'll be at their tables. Are y'all both here tomorrow?
Yes.
So you have today and tomorrow, and make sure you come to Johnny's screening tomorrow
Yes, noon in here.
and see his labor of love.
Yes.
Or my labor.
Labor.
And
Thank
then
you guys.
You won't claim anything.
Right.
Actually, Narvi did the whole thing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.